off, game on, heels off, game on, heels off, game on, heels off, game on, heels off, game on. It's the game day, diva theme song. Heels off, game on. It's the game day, diva theme song. Make some noise if you ready for the scat. Make some noise if you ready for the chat. It's your game day, diva. Yes, it is. It is the Game Day Diva. Yes, welcome to this episode of Heels Off Game On. There were some interesting games over the weekend, as always, in college football and in the NFL. But I'm going to jump a little bit into college football, talk a little bit about the top 10. It, keeps changing every week. But Ohio State is number one, Indiana's number two, Texas A&M is three, four is Alabama, five is Georgia, six is Oregon, seven is Ole Miss, eight is BYU, nine is Texas Tech, and Notre Dame rounds out the top 10. They are back in the top 10. There were a few teams that kind of dropped this week, with Georgia Tech losing to NC State. They're still in the top 25, but they did drop out of the top 10. Miami lost again. They lost to SMU. So they are no longer in the top 10. Now, the college football, the committee will come out with its first round of what the playoff picture will look like. Once again, remember, there is a 12-team playoff system in college football this year. So I'm not sure how many of those teams will be from the SEC, the Big 12, ACC, whatever it may be, but that will be out this evening. So stay tuned for that. Clemson is my team, and Clemson lost at home. Home games, like I said before, doesn't mean anything to us, but it was a heartbreaker. And it was a heartbreaker because we lost to Duke. Nothing against Duke. I mean, their record, they came in with a better record than us. But it's the fact that Duke hasn't beat us at home, I think, since like 1980 something. It's like been so many years. I didn't even fully look it up in the stats and whatnot, but I know that Duke has not beat us in many, many, many years. And on this past Saturday, they did just that. It was a 1 point loss. So a little disappointed there. As I have been pretty much all year with Clemson, I continue to support them and always will. But that was a disappointment, along with my NFL team, which I'll get into that. But I just wanted to wrap college football up with my team, which has just been disappointing me all year. A bit on the NFL. I'm going to just go into my studs and my duds. There were some good games this weekend. Of course, the biggest one was that matchup, that rematch every year between the Buffalo Bills and the Kansas City Chiefs. And yes, guys, Buffalo did get the dub, and they got the best of the Chiefs on this past weekend. As a matter of fact, as I'm looking at some of my stats, Josh Allen. Josh Allen he had three touchdowns, and two of those were rushing touchdowns, and one was a throwing touchdown. James Cook rushed for over 100 and some yards, so James Cook showed up there. Some of the studs, though, for this past weekend was definitely Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold balled out for Seattle, quarterback. He had over 300 and some passing yards and count them, not one, not two, not three, but four TDs. So Sam Darnold on this past weekend, you were a stud. His wide receiver, Torrey Horton Jr., actually had two touchdowns and caught all four of his targets. So this past weekend, Torrey, you were a stud. Christian McCaffrey, doing it, and doing it well for the 49ers. Had 28 carries for over 100 yards rushing. Christian, this past weekend, and usually most weekends, you are a stud, period. And actually, I didn't have this one down, but I do know that I had Caleb Williams last week as one of my duds. Caleb has been going stud, dud, stud, dud. Well, this past weekend, Caleb was a stud. They came back and they beat the Bengals. And Caleb, this past weekend, you weren't a dud. You were a stud. Now, and one of my other studs was Cam Little. You may not know a lot about him. His name is Cam Little. He is the kicker. Kickers don't get much recognition unless you're one of our Falcons kicker. They do, for all the wrong reasons. But Cam Little, on this past Sunday, kicked a field goal, 68-yard field goal. Longest in NFL history. So he's got the record. It was held by former Ravens kicker Justin Tucker. But Cam Little, you are a stud, and you got that NFL record kicking a 68-yarder. I mean, they were saying that in warm-ups, he actually kicked the 70-yarder. So, man, how would we love to have that dude here, and how we would love to have him here in the A. But Jags got him, and you know what? He helped them to a win, and they did beat the Raiders. So Cam Little this past weekend, and I think probably every weekend with that leg, you are a stud. Now, for my duds. Oh, who do I have here? I actually have, believe it or not, he's one of the best in the game. He's, a two-time Super Bowl winner, and he is one of the GOATs of the games, no doubt. But this past weekend, he was not. Patrick Mahomes, I mean, he had a subpar performance against the Bills, just not what we're used to seeing in Patrick Mahomes. So this past weekend, Pat, you were a dud. The Colts offense. I mean, where did it go? Daniel Jones, Jonathan Taylor. Where was the offense on this past Sunday against the Steelers? But the Steelers defense did step up. So, I give them that. But the offense for the Colts, 6 turnovers this past weekend, y'all were duds. And also, Jonathan Taylor, I mean, he was held. Credit to, once again, that Steeler defense, which they've been taking a lot of heat for not being as good as, we thought they would be. But they did step up this past weekend, and they held JT to 45 yards rushing. And Jonathan Taylor has been tearing it up. But on this past weekend, JT, you were a dud. The last dud, oh boy, I'm just going to give it to, and I'm not even going to say the whole Falcons, because the previous week I had them as duds against Miami. I just, we did not show up for that game. But the Falcons did come on. They played the Patriots, I think, pretty well. But Parker Romo missing the extra point that could have tied it up. And potentially we could have gone for that win. Now, who's to say that we would have won the game, because we don't know. It would have just tied it up. The Patriots would have had, there were a few minutes left on the clock. They would have had an opportunity to drive potentially kick a field goal and win the game. But hey, maybe not. The way our defense was playing and causing turnovers, we, possibly could have gotten that ball back, which we didn't, because we didn't stop them when we needed to. But the Patriots did not have to score another point because guess what? Our kicker, Parker Romo, missed the extra point. Now, today's Tuesday. Today is the deadline, is the trading deadline in the NFL. And guess what? He was cut. Cut out of here. Bye bye, Parker. Gone. Okay. So, Parker Romo, definitely this weekend, you were a dud. And because of that, you don't have a team right now. So, that's that. Now, I did want to get back because I failed to mention my HBCU. My HBCU game of the week for me was Delaware State and Norfolk State. That game was a history-making game. You had two former NFL legends going up against each other in Deshaun Jackson for Delaware State and Michael Vick for Norfolk State. Now, unfortunately, Norfolk State has not had a good season this year. I think they probably just need to get, in terms of recruiting, they just need to get some better players. I feel like, Coach Vick will be that guy, is that guy. He had to fire two of his coaches. So they'll regroup, and I think they'll be back. But Action Jackson, which I usually always call Lamar that, and Lamar was a stud last week too. When he came back, they beat the Dolphins. But talking about HBCU, Delaware State, Norfolk State, Delaware State got the dub. It was 27-20. Delaware State has had the best record that they've had in the past few years. So Coach Jackson is doing a great job with that team, with his players. And I look for Delaware State to do some things. Lastly, and I did want to kind of touch on the NBA a little bit. And there's so many games going on. It's like trying to keep up with all of them. I know for the Lakers, though, Austin Reeves has been tearing it up. Wemby has been going off. John Moran has had some issues. Suspended for one game for conduct detrimental to the team. Probably no surprise there with y'all. But a lot of little things going on with the NBA, and I'll have a little more on that probably on my next episode. But I wanted to end it with a congratulations to the LA Dodgers, back-to-back World Series champions. What a series, guys. Toronto fought. They really did fight. But Toronto, you kind of blew it because you had a 3-2 lead going back to Toronto. You were home. And you let them back in the series. And the Dodgers tied it up 3-3, which took it to a Game 7. And you were still home. Went into extra innings, like 11 innings. You all had a lead. But I'm not going to say you guys blew it. And maybe the Dodgers were just that much better, to the point where the Dodgers have an opportunity to come back and actually three-peat with the talent that they have. They're pitching, they're hitters. I'm talking about Ohtani, Freddie Freeman, Mookie Betts. They have a team. Yakimoto, whatever his last name is. He was MVP, pitched lights out, in the end. So came in as a reliever and pitched lights out. So congrats to the LA Dodgers. And guys, that's a wrap for this week of Heels Off, Game On. And until we talk again, have a week of victory and success, and be blessed. Bye-bye.